Farming's pretty straightforward. So you dig furrows, you put the seeds in, and then you water them. I'm being lazy because I've got so much produce that I don't really care. So I'm not personally actually watering them that much right now. I'm just... It'll either rain or it won't. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. I actually don't really care. Thanks for the follow, #1 champion. Welcome to the stream. Mashkabi says, I dug so many to try and get worms to fish with. Yeah, I'm too lazy to do that. I just go, okay, I'm just going to, you know, take a spear and get the penalty from using a spear as opposed to, like, a proper fishing pole. And when I get worms, I get worms. So grab 2 fish. And throw in veggies. What are about the 3 L's? Land, labor, and love. Yeah. Oh no, it certainly do both. Like, basically, when you're talking about the different types of fishing in the game, so there's spear fishing and then there's fishing. Both of those just go into the fishing stat. The spear fishing, you do take a penalty, as if the abundance, if I'm not mistaken, the abundance is like two ticks lower, as it were. So you'll catch fish a little bit slower and of like a little bit lower quality kind of thing. But then you take stick, you poke water. Really, the biggest negative with spearfishing is listening to spearfishing. Because by default, and I don't know if it's changed in this update, I do hope it has, it is one of the single loudest sounds in Project Zomboid, and every time you poke the water, it makes it. I run a mod called Advanced Volume something or other, I can't remember. Advanced Volume Options, I think it is, just so I can turn down that specific sound. That's how obnoxiously loud it is. #1 champion says, good posts. I will ask a question. I want to unlock items spawn in game. Do the items outside stack on top of each other? If someone answers by typing, I will use translation. So you want to spawn items in game. So is that like we're talking like debug mode kind of spawn items in game? Thank you for the follow. Taker of the Hill, welcome to the stream. Do the items outside stack on top of each other? Do the items outside stack on top of each other? I realize that's like Google Translate or whatever has butchered the sentence. I'm not really... Like, I get the idea of items stacking on each other. It's the outside part that I'm going... I think by outside probably means items not in your inventory or in a cabinet, like if I just drop it, of which they can stack. But it does sound like the person's non-English speaker, so someone would probably have to type that out if someone is cool with answering, because I'm guessing they aren't going to understand if I say it, kind of thing, because I have to translate. Because I would like to help the person, but... Mosh and Kimmy cashing in 10 push-ups. I will get that in just another minute. So I think they only stack up to 50 weight per tile and stacked in our tile nearby. Yes. You are correct there, Silo Cybernaut. Basically, the ground is a container that's got 50 space in it per block. And I'll be right back because Mosh and Kimmy's cashing push-ups, so I gotta do this and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's 60 push-ups we've done so far this stream. out of the 100 cap. This does mean that I've done more than 2,500 push-ups since we started this in like the middle of January or whatever it was that people have redeemed. I need to be shedding layers, and I've just been super stubborn about it. Because what's happening is we are starting to get to the point that our character's getting all hot and sweaty. And I don't really care about the extra water use. That's like a non-issue to me. What I do care about is if you get simply too hot, it heavily penalizes your ability to do stuff. It can also lead you to getting sick, like nausea and all that. So it can be problematic to let yourself get way too overheated. It is one of the things that I feel runs into a lot of new players. They go, oh, this gives me a defensive bonus, I should always equip it. And it's like, well, no. Like, wearing too much can be very problematic. And then on top of that, not only can wearing too much be problematic within itself, a lot of clothing actually has negatives that come with it as well. Like, you know, you'll have run speed bonus, or run speed penalties, which I don't care about. Those might as well not be a mechanic as far as I'm worried. But then you also have stuff that's like, oh, this is going to have a combat speed penalty. And it's like, alright, hold up a second. You say combat speed penalty? I know you're talking only 3%, but like, no. Silo Cybernaut says, one of my pet peeves is how easily you get dirty just walking around the house and reading books and sitting down. Yeah. Oh, alright, it's prediction time. Because that little message there means we got a helicopter coming. And anytime we have a helicopter coming, we start a prediction to say, do we survive or not? So the rules, for people not familiar with this, is from this very second now that we have started this prediction until after the helicopter has fully left and then we go to sleep and wake up. If I take an injury that is ultimately going to kill my character, we have not survived. If I do not take an injury, or the injury we take is non-fatal by the time the helicopter leaves and we go to sleep and wake up, then we have survived. So, I believe for this helicopter, where are we going with this helicopter? What is our plan? Because I do think I kind of want to move towards Rosewood, but I don't want to go all the way to the Rosewood gas station, because if I do that, the whole gas station is going to be just completely overrun. I'm going to probably do exactly what we did the last time, which is there's a field north of Rosewood that we're going to try and see if we can't get to. That it's a big open field. We'll fight the zombies there in the big open field near Rosewood to try and draw as many of the as possible. Yeah, so usually these, to give you, just for full context, we're getting 2 or 3 of these helicopters every month, which means we're between like 20 and 30 helicopters we have already done at this point. And we're still alive. Not a single injury has occurred. So I do feel pretty comfortable that we are going to survive this helicopter unless something goes direly wrong. That said, I have certainly died of helicopters plenty of times in the past. So, you know, it's a long shot bet if you go for the lose, but you might win big if you go for the lose. It is the long stakes kind of thing where you go, the chance of this horse winning this race are low, but if they do, I win big kind of approach. So that's on you. Plus, if you bet more points on losing than the people who win, I mean, the people who are voting surviving, if they do win, will get more points. I'm actually not feeling like this is going to be a particularly bad one. Like, we might end up with a lot of zombies and I might get forced retreat. That's actually what happened the last one. Just because it showed up super late, it was super dark, it was raining on top of that, so it was even darker. That we're like, okay, I can't fight the zombies when it's like pitch black outside. We're backing off, is what we did last time. But normally I do stay and fight it. Like, normally I will stay and fight out whatever shows up. Because since we're trying to kill them all, and they're all kind enough to just rally around me, like, that's actually pretty convenient. Come on, you. Oh, another thing for people who are new, if you noticed, you just walk fast into zombies. Like, the one piece of advice I always try to give new players, slow down. You don't need to run. Running is a mechanic that you barely need in this game. About the only time that it becomes relevant that I've found is when you're being intercepted by a zombie, just taking those extra couple steps fast that get you ahead of that zombie to dodge the intercept. Otherwise, you could remove running as a mechanic to this game and I probably wouldn't really notice that much. That's how little I run. Yeah. Yeah, Silo Cybernaut was like, and this is was saying that like the biggest killer for new players is just exhaustion. Mashin Kimi said a small amount of time needed to put on another weapon since I don't know how the action bar is the only time I run. Yep. Yep, because if you see like if I'm going here and I just like walk la da da and I aggro like 40 zombies and we're like, oh, things are bad. That's what you do. You don't run, you just go, nope, walking the other way. You hear them all start making their noise, like that one, we can just print a sword, and I would just keep on walking. You're faster, you will get away. Sure, you may not be where you want to be after you walk away. Sure, it means later you have to like circle back and kill those zombies to get back to whatever it was they were at. And that can be annoying and inconvenient, but you at least survive to do that. I do need to be making more progress towards this field because the helicopter can show up just about any time now. Usually, though, I have it show up like 1, 2 o'clock. But it can show up as early as, I think the earliest I've seen is 9 a.m. and I've seen it as late as like 8 p.m. Honestly, those super late ones are the absolute worst. Because then the helicopter's still flying around, you're still dealing with zombies as it's getting to like be full on nighttime. Usually you're starting to get drowsy because, you know, you don't wake up with intentions of being up all night. You wake up with intentions of trying to make the most of the daylight kind of thing. Like, I'm actually going to ignore that zombie, just keep pushing. How close are we to Rosewood? We have gotten as close as... Hold up, is that an axe? We've gotten as close as the gas station. We actually circled around the building. We walked inside the building. We just didn't stay there yet. So we have reached Rosewood. But I'm right now where I'm on the road. I'm just about 2-3 blocks equivalent to, north of it. So we're pretty close. Like, something would have to go direly wrong for us to not get into Rosewood this stream. Like, I fully anticipate getting my feet down in Rosewood and actually starting to really properly clear the area out this stream is what I would expect to happen. Like, and for me when I say reach Rosewood, where we still have that objective there, even though I have technically gone into it, for me, reach Rosewood is that we can sleep in Rosewood and like pick up where we left off and keep going. That's my definition of reach Rosewood, is that we've actually managed to like get our foot down in there. So it wasn't this field or this field, it was like the next field that was just fenced off, but otherwise super clear, if I recall correctly. I'll be careful. Yeah, so this field is where I plan on actually dealing with the helicopter. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so Rosewood is just south of that. Like, this is Rosewood gas station. It's like right here where my mouse is down on the map. So you can see where we are and how fast we're moving along there. We're within a couple blocks of it. My hope is that this helicopter here shows up at, like, any time now, like 1. And that maybe we'll still have enough time to keep pushing for Rosewood. It really depends on how much shows up. Sometimes if you have, like, hundreds of zombies show up, you just accept what you're doing today is fighting zombies. I mean, ultimately that's what we're doing regardless of what happens, but... I don't want to take the helicopter in Rosewood itself, because we haven't cleared out any of the area. And all that means they'll dump an incredible number of zombies on where I'm trying to get, which can just delay us. And the thing that's costing us the most time and, like, slowing down our kill count is this commute from Ekron to Rosewood. So I really want to get my feet down in Rosewood so that I can just continue fighting in Rosewood. I should have brought... I almost never bring a gun with me because I actually do have a decent amount of weight, and then there's ammo and everything else. But I probably should use some of these bullets we keep collecting. Because, like, of our 45,000, probably 1,000 of those are gun kills. Yeah. Now, the only reason I'm choosing this as our place to fight the helicopter, or deal with the helicopter event, is just because, one, it's close to Rosewood, so we will draw some of the zombies out of Rosewood here. And then the other reason is because it's a big open space, and I find those to be the absolute best for dealing with a helicopter. Because you can just kind of, like, keep circling around, like, if there's too many zombies, just keep circling and not even worrying about them until the helicopter goes away, and then you just walk away. Or you can also sit there and try and fight them all. And usually that's what I try and do, at least for the beginning. For, like, the first pass, we usually just fight the zombies. And then it depends on how much shows up for the later passes, and where it's like, okay, we're no longer fighting, we're trying to just survive. And while I wait for the helicopter, I'm just hunting down any zombies we see nearby. Because they're going to get drawn anyways, might as well just kill them now on our terms. Come on, helicopter, don't make us wait all day. I mostly want it gone by the time it's dark. That is the thing I want more than anything, is that it to be not here by the time it's dark. Alright, now our group up here. Well, we certainly get enough vitamins, so sleep won't be a problem. Like, I've been half tempted to just do one of these days where we just choke down vitamins and just don't sleep. Mashikimi says, fun and odd question, can you make the world with no zombies? I know that's a weird idea, but it'd actually be nice to test skills. I think you could if you set the zombie population to 0, like base pop 0, I imagine it would. Like, I've never tried, but in theory that should absolutely work. You know, maybe the minimum is like 0.1 or something, but I think you could get the population to either be actually 0 or very, very close to 0. Okay, so helicopter did show up at 2. Right. That said, your tests will still absolutely be able to kill you, just so you know. Depending on what you're testing, a lot of things can get you killed in this game. Such as accidentally putting stuff on food that you cannot eat without killing yourself, like bleach. There's a reason I will never keep bleach anywhere near where I prepare my food in this game. So here comes a helicopter. So at least for the beginning part, we're going to kill any zombies that show up. I'm also going to sit down and try and recover whatever stamina we can before the zombies arrive. Making a salad and prep. Okay. We're standing up now. We're fine on water. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to, as a precaution, start slamming down vitamins like it's, you know, going out of style. So there we go. There's a zombie. I'm like, zombies? Like, I know I've cleared the area around here, but I'm expecting way more zombies than this. And the reason why we're choking down all those vitamins is normally I'd have the mod minimal display bars up showing me how much like stamina and how much fatigue we have and all that kind of stuff. I have since turned that off because there was like a question I was talking to Royal with Cheese TV that we were wondering how much I do lean on like those mods that are informational. Like, is that like instrumental to my play, or is it just kind of a nice thing? And so I was like, you know what? I don't know. Like, I feel like it's not that big a deal, but I don't know. Let's find out. So the mods still are technically loaded, but I have them so I've hidden all the UI stuff for the time being. So I'm just playing as if it's vanilla without those informational mods and just seeing how it goes. So far it's been going well. Now one thing I do know is this is an established character, not an intro character, and that the mods will be far more important and meaningful for me when I'm first getting started. So I do plan on actually running my next character, like just, other than Pillow's random spawn mod, just full-on vanilla, and just kind of see that. Because like, I always recommend the short blades as like kind of the go-to when stamina's a problem. I want to make sure I'm actually giving good information. Why am I doing this? Give me the machete. Yeah, so I'm taking the vitamins to keep us from getting sleepy as long as possible. Both because as you get sleepier, your stamina recovery gets slower, as well as your awareness gets bad. So I'd rather just try and not get sleepy at all. Like, I'd rather we not get sleepy at all, I waste some vitamins, then we go home and take a sleeping pill, than be out here and have to, like, run around and do all sorts of stuff because we're just too tired to do anything. The longer this helicopter makes passes, the farther and farther away it'll draw zombies from, just by the nature of it's making noise all over the place. It gives the zombies more time to get here. So kind of think of it as like every pass it makes, expect to see the number of zombies we see in the area to go up more and more. So usually that first pass is like very trivial, very meaningless. It's around the second or third pass you get to see how much trouble you're really in. Should have switched the knife earlier, but I chose not to because the machete lets you get away with being moderately exhausted pretty well because of its high crit. Hey, how's it going? Oh, Golich. Just doing our typical helicopter shenanigans, so you know. That is what it is. That was a bold stab. Alright, we might be at the point of just pacing around, getting the zombies, you know, getting the zombies all bunched up and then go back to it. We seem slower than we should. We're only at fairly heavy and moderate exertion, so we're not bad. It's not what you want. Moderate exertion is not a minor penalty. It's not like a 5% damage reduction. It's like 20-30%, so it's not good times. Let's see. Cheese was sharing a tip about turning off the Blood and Shadows 2 over the weekend. Maybe you learned that. Maybe you learned that from YouTube? Just joined here this weekend. No, the Blood thing I actually heard from Cheese. So, like, I actually learned that one from him. The Shadows I haven't had to mess with for performance myself, but it makes sense. I did notice there was a lot more settings you could change so far as display when I looked at the settings with the unstable build, which is good, because a lot of them look at the kind of stuff that have performance implications. Okay, give me one moment and I will, I'll show you. Just let me get a little distance from these zombies first. You know, gotta do that whole thing. So, and one of the things I'd recommend is when you start the game, if you go to Options Display, and this isn't a new place, so I'm going to get this confused a couple times. You'll see under Rendering and Performance, down here, there's this Blood Decals setting. So what this is every time you kill a zombie in Project Zomboid, it puts a little blood splatter on the ground, on the wall nearby, that kind of thing. So it kind of builds like an environment where it's like, oh, I can see where I had the really harsh fights and all that, because there are, you know, blood everywhere. The downside is those textures, they never go away. You just get more and more as you play. So as you do like longer playthroughs and more kill counts and that kind of thing, you do keep adding more and more and more textures. So even if you have like an absolute beast of a machine, you will eventually hit a point it'll start having significant performance implications. So one of the things you can do is if as you play your game longer and longer and longer, you start seeing issues, you can change that from whatever it's set to like none or super low, and it really helps. And so you're saying the corpse shadows was the one that they're saying, let's see. The corpse shadows has performance implication, which makes sense. Why do the corpse have shadows? They're laying on the ground. I see. Because we can actually look down here. If you look at these corpses down here, keep your eye there. Yeah.
What Up Glitch just subscribed.
Thank you for the sub, What Up Glitch. You can now enjoy your advertisement-free streaming and access to your emotes. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Yeah. So, like, if you look, you can see, like, there's these little shadow along the edge here. And that gets rid of that. I don't care about that. But yeah, I hadn't heard about the shadows. Shadows are almost always something that cause performance implications in games. But this one specifically, the blood decals can be real rough if you're killing a lot of zombies. I still feel like we're moving slowly. Are we like really overburned? Is that what's happening? You know what? Shove this entire salad in your mouth. Just do it. Because that makes that salad way lighter, and it gives us more strength to make us not overburned. Awesome, thank you. So as you see, I just ran 2 or 3 steps there just to avoid the intercept. And that's about the length of the running you'll see me do. Okay, this is very quickly looking... Yeah, this is definitely one of those we are not staying here and fighting this situations. Because we are exerted. Like, I'm probably going to kill a bunch of them, but we are ultimately going to retreat when it gets dark, I think is what's going to happen here. Unless we find a katana, at which point all those things I just said go away. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that we were exerted, I'd bust out the machete and would start taking this horde down fast. But being exerted, that's a fast way to push her to high, and then exhaustion. And then suddenly you go from just removing zombies very quickly to suddenly you're just dead. Alright, so I'm going to start turning them back around. Because we already have enough zombies. I don't need to be picking up more. Okay, so we got some clear space here. You know, it's been a long time since we've taken a beta blocker, but this is really feeling like beta blocker territory right now. I do wish we'd get out of being exerted at least long enough, because if I get out of exerted, the hunting knife will kill in 2 to 3 hits reliably, versus this is like 3, 4, sometimes 5 with exerted up. Yeah, so betas will reduce your panic. I think the smokes are for anxiety, if I remember correctly. Or being anxious, which are 2 separate things. I don't know. I never used the smoke, so I couldn't tell you. I know a lot of people are like, but smokers, free points. I mean, fair. But then when people go, but your build could be better. Well, right, you're not wrong. It's a bad build. Like, it's deliberately a bad build. It has been made with the intent of being a bad build, so... it could certainly be better in being anything other than what it is. Besides, it's more fun when I do this versus just walking away from when the helicopter shows up, because then everyone gets to sit there and think, did I make a mistake betting all of my points that he was going to survive? He's just aggroing everything. Like, doesn't he know this is super dangerous? The answer is yes. But it's also how I deal with helicopters, because they see it as a great way to draw all the zombies to someplace that's safe to fight. As opposed to, like, dealing in narrow lanes and stuff like that. I can find a big open field, all the zombies show up, I show up, a bunch of knives show up, and we just kind of work through it. Hello, additional machete. Usually I actually don't even have to worry about panic. Like, I usually don't even take the beta blockers for this kind of stuff. Not this late in the run. Early run, yeah, we are all over the beta blockers early run. The classic, you know, they think I'm trapped in here with them meme, but they're trapped in here with me meme. Oh yeah, like I said, especially early run, it's like you see 3 zombies, it's like, oh god, and your character's just like losing their mind with panic. It's just like, nah, we've killed 45,000 zombies. It's fine, whatever, who cares? Stuff like the agoraphobic, I actually don't really know how much of it, like I know it makes you panic easy and all that, or anxious or whatever. I couldn't tell you specifics about like what does and doesn't trigger because I never run it. So, I don't know. Thank you to follow, Nasty Anna, welcome to the stream. Alright, gonna turn this bus around. But yeah, so you'll notice what I'm doing here when it comes to fighting is I'll keep fighting. I'm getting away with a lot of stuff you can't do till you have high nibbles. So if you're like, oh, I'm trying to fight exactly like Rawl, you gotta wait till your character's actually built up to do this stuff. But what I'm trying to watch for is I'm kind of just shifting back and forth just to try and keep them in range for every stab. But I am watching for when you get about 3 of them lined up side by side, like right there. You'll notice I take a second before I stab to let them kind of separate out a little. And the reason for that is when they're all side by side like that, I'm only hitting 1 zombie. So if I hit the 1 zombie and the others are too close, they'll overwhelm me. And also keep in mind, not swinging your weapon is a choice. Because a lot of people just feel like the more attacks you throw, the better. But yeah, so the moment I see where it's like, I'm in a situation where there's going to be like a wall like that, I'll back off real fast. So that line there that I saw where there's 3 next to each other is what I'm watching for to just not get involved. Or if I have a zombie that comes from the side or from behind or whatever, like that too. But otherwise we're just going to keep on circling. Like I said, every 3-4 hits to a zombie is 1 less zombie. Now if I wasn't exerted, it'd be 2 to 3 hits. Mostly 2. But we're exerted, so this is the life we live. But the higher you're nimble, the more you can get away with this kind of thing. Really low nimble, I would walk away from this, I wouldn't even try. Like this is certain death in low nimble. I also really like once you start softening them up and you get that run where you just drop like 10 zombies in a row because they've all had 2 or 3 hits on them already. This is the magic of short blade. If you noticed, how many zombies do you think we've killed and are still going? I challenge you to find any other weapon you can do that without being completely tapped out so far as stamina. It's a trick question because there isn't another weapon you can do that without being completely tapped out in stamina. That's the magic of short blade, is it's super stamina efficient. Oh no, hand axe, you'll burn your stamina up. It's not the worst. That's a catch. Like, I might actually get out of moderate exertion as long as I don't push, because I keep pushing him. That actually is pretty bad for stamina. But I might be gaining stamina doing this. That's how efficient it is. Can you use bodies for fertilizer? Nope. Bodies are useless. All they do is they work really good as ramps for your car to get yourself killed. Otherwise, the loot on them has use, and the body itself just takes up space. I'm sure there are mods that do all sorts of disturbing and upsetting things with the bodies, but you know. The moment you talk about mods, you just ignore all mechanics of the game because they change the mechanics of the game, so there's no knowing what they're going to do. If it gets too dark for me to see, then I'll bail on this fight. Because, as a reminder, I do keep a filter on OBS that makes the game about 20 to 25% brighter for all of you than it is for me. Because I do like to make it so night is scary and dangerous. But I know that's kind of crap for viewing on Twitch. So I do turn up a gamma filter on OBS just so you can actually enjoy the gameplay, even if I can't see the zombie. You can see what's coming to get me as I walk directly into its open, embracing arms that I don't see until I hear the crunch. Turning the bus back around. When that machete zombie drops, I need someone to take note of where it falls. Because I do want that machete. It's going to be super hard for me to find it. Okay, time to get out of the field because I can't see. I barely saw you. There's the fence. Because I'll keep fighting him in the road where I can see. I didn't realize they're nearly that close. And every one of them I kill means I'm also getting more hits on the remainder ones faster. Because, you know, there's not a zombie taking up a swing kind of thing. So that's the reason it'll seem like I'm not making progress and then suddenly the numbers start dwindling pretty quick. I'm really happy we took all those vitamins early, just figuring this is going to be the outcome. I will have to do those push-ups in a minute. We are in concentration mode at the moment. And I know I'm also not keeping up with chat, and I do apologize for that. We are in focus mode. I'm sure you all understand. I have long since lost track of that machete. I'm sure a bunch of people are like, you know, this is going to be a pain to drive on. Yup. Yup. But if I survive, I get to drive on it. If I don't survive, that concern becomes a moot point. Got to hydrate. I'll have to catch up on a lot of stuff in chat. A posture check. A lot of times you'll end up with like a second wave of them that got separated. Okay, there's a second wave. Cool, the machete's still in there. I was like, I've lost track of that machete. I really hope we didn't kill it, and I had no idea where it was. Is that also a machete? We might have two machetes in here. I'll check. There's one of these ones down here. I couldn't tell if it's a bread knife or an armored... Okay, it's a bread knife. Alright, so pause and let me catch up on everything. First, let me catch up on whatever's going on in chat. Let's see. What can hordes break through besides doors and windows, walls? Galich, any single thing that a player puts down or builds in the world can be destroyed by a zombie. And if there's anything missing, it's literally a mistake and that will get fixed. So you can't You can't put down things to make an impenetrable base. There is always going to be a vulnerability of some kind. So windows, doors. If a player builds a wall, it can tear that down. Staircases, if a player builds it, they can tear that down. If I pick up a refrigerator and move it, they can tear that down. You get the idea. Silo Cybernaut says, you need that RPD with 150 round drum magazine right now. Totally quality of life mod. Yeah, but that makes it too easy. Masha Kibi says, maybe this is how you made the plant from the Little Shop of Horror, grown with a pile of zombies. Mr. Helsing says, what mod is popping up with the weapon condition? So that's weapon condition indicator. Normally it also has stuff down here that like the thing will either be like green or it'll be a little bit lower, like only half filled, or it'll be yellow, or it'll be really low in red. At the moment I just have those turned off. Normally I do have them on. I'm trying to avoid leaning on those mods as much as possible, kind of seeing how much I depend on them type thing. Brain explodes. Oh, this road is going to be fun to drive on there. Yeah, and I figured someone was going to bring that up. And like, yeah, that's true. Booty Paper says, nice. So I owe a hydrate, push-ups, and posture check. So give me a moment. I'm going to quickly do those push-ups. I can't not do it because Chad is on the ball. So I only caught up to my older brother like 2 days ago. But that was the big problem. And I mentioned this in chat previously at one point, which is that the issue I was running into is I wanted to like keep up with it and everything. But the problem I was having was because I stream like 11 hours a day. If I didn't manage to knock out all of the push-ups before stream, they didn't happen. And just trying to lay there and like slam out, 50 to 100 push-ups in one sitting is actually pretty tough. And it's not the best way of doing it. It's good to have... It's better to have a lot of small instances of exercise continuously to keep your heart rate up a little bit for longer extended periods of time than just go, absolutely full force and just knock out an exercise as hard as you can for like 10 minutes. And I don't even think it was like, because I don't remember if I had mentioned the New Year's resolution into chat or whatever, but it had come up, so I was like, you should do a point redemption for that, because we were trying to think of stuff to do with points, and so I was like, you could put a point redemption for like 5 push-ups or something. It's like, you're right, that's like the easy solution. And so I found people actually really enjoy it, because it's kind of, you get to mess with the streamer and all that, like, you can see there where I was in the middle of all of that nonsense, and so I was like, by the way, 10 push-ups. And there are times that I'll pause like in the middle of a fight and do the push-ups just to be like, yeah, we got this, it's fine. And then there's times like, no, I'm in focus mode, like I just want to survive this experience. Yeah, it's helpful harassment. It's that person where you're like, no, really, I want to keep on me, like going to the gym kind of thing, and then you have like that friend who's just kind of nudging you on it. All right, we are drowsy. Where's our vehicle? Oh, where are you? Where are you? There you are. All right. So, I'm going to take a hint here that this is going to be a long night for our character. So we're just... Hey, I'm trying to take vitamins and talk to chat. So if you don't mind, I would like to take my vitamins in peace. So to let people know what vitamins do in this game is they make you the teeniest, tiniest bit less sleepy. And when I say the teeniest, tiniest, chugging down an entire container of vitamins is only about 1/5 of your sleepiness bar. So it is really not much they do for you in that regard. But when you're out stuck and about, taking the time to just shovel vitamins into your mouth is a way to be able to continue going for a while. Because drowsiness is really rough. It massively reduces your stamina recovery. And then when you hit actually drowsing that, it penalizes your damage a pretty significant amount. And that's where you can kind of get yourself in the vicious cycle of you're getting exerted, you're getting sleepier, which means you're doing less damage, which means you're swinging your weapon more, which means you're getting more exerted, which means you're getting sleepier, which means you're doing less damage, which means you're swinging more. You get the idea. It kind of starts this feedback loop where you do less and less damage, which means it takes longer and longer to win the fight, which just makes you more and more tired until eventually your character reaches the point they can't fight anymore. And you also reach the point where you just get so tired you can't even walk away from the zombies because they walk faster than you do. So yeah, our car is down this way somewhere. That said, I'm pretty sure we killed almost 400 zombies today. I think just a slightly shy of 400 is about what I'm estimating we killed from that helicopter event. So I'm feeling pretty good about today, what we got done. I'm also very thankful I had the foresight to turn off the car so the zombies wouldn't be attracted to it while all this is going on. Otherwise, you get to our car and just have like 200 zombies just all over it. And that would be one of those times that's like, do we just walk the whole way home? Because back home is a very long trek from here by foot. I know because yesterday we flipped the truck and I had to walk it. And it took almost an entire in-game day for us to do it. It was not good times. We basically lost 2 whole days of killing zombies because day 1 walking home and day 2 taking a new vehicle back out to our truck to flip it back over and recover it. Yep. Bleeding Paper says, you know, it's also a nice break from staring at the screen. Yeah, it is. And then plus, like, one of the problems you run into when you're playing these games, it's gotten a little bit better since I stopped using push-to-talk the other day. So I don't have to have my pinky down on the control key, because that's actually a really bad hand situation to be in. It does give you a break from being at the mouse and keyboard, because really one of the things that agitates stuff like RSI is, like, keeping your hands, like, locked in that position for a long period of time, and then, like, using the same muscle function. Alright, so I'm just going to run past them, because I can't really see in the grass, so I don't want to take my chance of being there any longer than we have to. Oh, another pro tip for people who are new at the game. You can shove zombies by just running into them. Like, you don't have to push space. It's a different mechanic. Like, space will knock them over. But if you're just trying to get past a zombie, you can just hold shift, slam into them, and you will just kind of like nudge them out of the way and you'll shift out of the way. The one thing I will warn you is you can do it for one zombie safely. The one thing is it will lock you in that direction of motion. Like if I shove that lady in the gray hair on the far left there, I'd basically have run off the side of the road to the left there. So it does lock you in that direction, like whatever direction you were facing when you ran her. It'll keep you going that for like a good 5-10 more steps before you're allowed to turn. And the idea is your character's off balance from shoving them. The downside is if you're off balance and you run into another zombie, you can trip very easily, which makes your character fall forward. And it takes several seconds for them to get back up. And you'll usually take like a scratch from falling down. Which it's a scratch from the environment, not from the zombie, so no zombie infection concern from that scratch. But you can imagine if you're fighting a horde of zombies, you run at them, you slam into it, and you trip past them, and you're right in reach of them. You don't get the chance to get back up before the crunching noise start. But it is a good trick that when, you're in a building, you don't really know if it's safe to go outside, you open the door, and you just bodily run through them. Assuming you don't hear, like, a whole bunch. So you'll see, like, anytime I can't see what's going on outside, I very often will run when I open the door, just for like a step or two. And it's just in case there's a zombie sitting right at the door, that'll just kind of shove them out of the way. because I've certainly died from opening a door, walking through it, and there just being a zombie right out of sight on the side of the door. You take that first step, the zombie comes from the side, and it's just at that point you already done goofed. And you just hope it works out, and it usually doesn't. Because especially those ones, they typically will end up counting as back attacks. And in this game, by the default settings, back attacks have a very high chance of being bites and lacerations. Which means way better chance of zombie infection. A bite is guaranteed zombie infection on default settings. So if you're bitten, you're dead. That's just the way it is. You're just dead. Laceration is 25% chance of zombie infection by default. And then a scratch, I believe, is 7% chance of zombie infection by default. And that's only for zombie-related injuries. If, you know, you go jumping through windows and broken glass and all that, you can't get zombie infected from that, typically. You just get cut up and have a bad day. But yeah. So don't be afraid to bully the zombies if you have to get yourself safe. Pretty much treat everywhere you go as if it's going to be a bad time and go from there. And barring me slamming into a tree going like 70 miles per hour, probably good. Or if I roll the vehicle, which is actually a real possibility. So there's the big pile of zombies there. Yeah, so we got a bunch more hordes back here. That is what it is. Okay. So like all responsible people, while we're driving home, we're gonna go ahead and make a salad behind the wheel. Don't worry about it, it's fine. I mean, we are like the top of the top sous chefs here in this world, where we are maxed in our cooking. We can take the rottenest of rotten food and still produce eatable, you know, food that's not only edible but delicious and makes people happy. Like we are God's gift to cooking on this planet. But also we are definitely doing it behind the wheel, going 35, 40 miles an hour. Don't worry about it, it's fine. But opening a can of sardines, absolutely undoable, cannot be done behind the wheel. Pouring oatmeal into a bowl, right out. What madness. Madness, I say. But chopping up veggies for a salad, A-okay. I see nothing wrong with this. It is curious the things they do and don't let you do while driving, because there's a lot of stuff that's like, absolutely not. And you're just like, yep, just get out your cutting board and chopping up salad. Okay, that's fine, sure. Yeah, and everywhere I see these cars off the side of the road, that's because as I drive around and I take these routes, because I end up having to double back in these routes so much, I will take the time to tow everything off the side of the road to, you know, as best I can keep the path clear. Oh, and I just realized we had a follow when I got up to do my push-ups. Thank you for the follow, Dankster. Welcome to stream. And thank you for the follow, Demon Scythe X. Welcome to stream. But yeah, so we are going to lose, like, this day worth of clearing zombies. Probably. But yeah. Brain explodes. I imagine she has the chopping board on the passenger seat side. Nah, like, in my version of it, my headcanon, she's got the chopping board, and she, like, rests it on the steering wheel. And so she's chopping like that with the salad bowl, like, sitting in her lap, so it falls into the salad bowl. I mean, super unsafe. You wouldn't be able to turn or anything, and more than likely you'd just put yourself in the first tree or off the side of the road. But you know, it is what it is. Gal says, I was on the phone. Didn't know if you answered. Are walls and fences unable to be destroyed by hordes? So, yeah. So what I said, Galich, is any single thing a player builds or moves can be destroyed. So, if you pick up a fridge that zombies normally won't mess with, and you take it home and you block a door, the zombies will destroy it. If you build a wall, the zombies will destroy it. Like, there is no such thing as a base that is impenetrable. And if you do find something, it means it's a bug and it should be fixed. If you do happen to know of stuff that are indestructible in the game, please don't say. I do not want to encourage, like, exploits and cheating and that kind of thing. That said, I don't have a problem if people do that. Like, by all means, there's plenty of stuff you can break in this game if you really want to. But, you know, there's people on YouTube who have entire videos on that. Usually zombies won't just randomly start smashing walls. Generally speaking, if zombies are just wandering around randomly, not a big deal. They won't typically aggro and attack stuff when that happens. However, if something agitates the zombies, whether it's the meta event of a gunshot out in the distance, the helicopter, they see or hear you, they see or hear your car, they hear your generator, those kind of things, if that happens and a zombie bumps into your wall, it usually will start banging on your wall to try and get through it. But just a random zombie walking up and start knocking down your wall doesn't. It's pretty rare. Not that it never happens, but it is pretty rare. Bad. It can happen. And if you do find YouTube videos out there, they're like, hey, if you want an impenetrable base, just use microwaves or use televisions with the screens facing the zombies. Those were things. Those videos are super out of date. Those haven't been a thing for a number of months, so yeah, you know, that'll get you killed. Just assume nothing is indestructible, other than, you know, like the existing, like the walls in a building that just exist. Those are indestructible from zombies. Their windows and doors aren't. So those are the only guaranteed defensible positions. But even then, you always have weaknesses of windows, doors, that kind of thing, or anything you build yourselves. Cars, generally speaking, the zombies won't attack cars unless you're in said car. But zombies can crawl underneath cars. So if you try doing these things that, like, say I'm staying in this building and I pull the car up in front of the door, the zombie can crawl underneath the car and still attack. The closest thing you get to a a undefeatable location is either I mean, ultimately it boils down to stairs. You build stairs and then you put like rope ladders down and then you destroy the stairs. But then the danger there is if a zombie strolls up and destroys your rope ladder, now you too cannot get into your base until you build a new set of stairs. But otherwise, everything, like, zombies can break their way into your base. Pro tip, anytime you go to gas up, no matter how safe you feel, just do a lap around your gas pump. You are super vulnerable while you're pumping gas, so it's best to just make sure you're absolutely clear before you do. Yeah, and as the Greater Danger says, also a single zombie will take quite a while to destroy a wall. Yeah, you'll hear the zombie just banging on your wall for a while, and if you choose to ignore it, yeah, sure, eventually they'll get through. But, like, it takes a while. When did they get the ability to start going under cars? That's been a while. Was that Build 41? That they got that? Or it may have been before that. It's probably Build 41. And it's not super often they do it, so it's not like it's not like you'll have a horde go up to zombie and the whole horde will drop to their knees and climb under. It'll be like one or two might bump into the car and it'll look like they took damage. It's not really, but they'll then fall down and become a crawler and then go under it, kind of thing. So it's a little weird the way it works. But yeah. And there was some ability where you could put, like, if I put a wall here and a desk there and a short wall, like, you could have certain combinations that the zombie AI would break on. Most of those have been fixed as well. I mean, I'm sure, just because of the nature of the game, someone will find something that still works. You know, again, you're welcome to discuss and advertise and do all that sort of stuff other places. Like, that's cool. There's entire places committed to that type of content. I personally don't like spreading, like, exploits and that kind of stuff. Stuff that's very obviously not intended to be the way the game's played. You know, stuff like, oh, if you do this, it's slightly better. Awesome. All about talking about that. But if it's something that's like, oh, very clearly this is taking advantage of what's obviously a bug or, you know, some short-sighted thing or that kind of thing. Like, one of the ones that I was talking about, this is no longer a thing in the unstable build. In the not unstable build, you can drink from this and be fine. In the unstable build, that kills you. But that had been in the game for so long and that people had, like, openly asked, like, is this intended or not? And not had really gotten an answer for a good long time. That it's kind of came to the point, it's like, well, it's really not a bug or an exploit thing so much as just a mechanic of the game. You know, do what you will with it.